Hi everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to another paper pad party. Yes, we've had rain again today. Yes, I think I'm going to have to buy a boat soon. Rain, I mean, I've never seen so much rain. For all you Aussie gals, I would love to be sending you some of this rain. Yes, okay. So what do I have? Well, I have some paper pads in front of me, and not just paper pads, fall paper pads, okay? Now I'm going to take this off this. Let me find something pretty. There we go. Some pretty pumpkins, because who wants to just see a glare? No. Okay, so what are we going to do at Paper Pad Party today? What are we going to do at RTS? Well, we're going to talk about paper pads, and we're going to talk about fall paper pads because, it's that time of the year we're getting them out, playing with our fall supplies. Don't you just love that? Yes, and then what we're going to talk about is some designs that are hard to use in a paper pad, and then I'm going to do a start to finish, and I'm going to challenge myself to use those hard papers. So, can I get it done? I don't know, but we're going to give it a whirl because I love challenging myself. And I think that's honestly how I keep things interesting in my scrap space, is just mixing it up every week. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And of course, I have you beautiful people coming along for the ride. Makes me happy. And of course, I just see these colors of this jadeite sticking out. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so what do I have in front of me? Now, I have to be honest and tell you, I only have 2 fall paper pads in my inventory. Now, yes, for now. I'm hoping to get to Michael's, get a couple more, like at the $4.80 price, I'm hoping, okay? So what do I have? I have Autumn Dream and Happy Fall, and of course Happy Fall of my 2 paper pads is my more whimsical, and whimsical, I mean we have critters. Let me just see if I can find some. Okay, well, we have floral, so that's a win. Yes. Okay, and of course the colors of fall, beautiful. This is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, now I know this was in a paper pad, and I know I paid $4.80 for. Actually, I should correct myself. My sister picked these up for me, so she was gracious enough to see them and pick them up. 48 sheets. 48 sheets. Now, I can tell you, for many, many years, I have bought a lot of different paper in a lot of different ways, a lot of different stores, and I can easily pay 99 cents for this piece of paper. Yes, 99 cents, $1, $9, $19, $29. But let me tell you something. This beautiful piece of paper, beautiful, is what you would find in a designer's manufacturer. Like I said, Michael's and Hobby Lobby have really picked up their pace when it comes to paper pads. And then when you can get them on sale, and then a coupon with the sale, no brainer. No. And I said in one of my other videos, I think paper pads get a bad rap. Not in my life. No. Okay, so that's what I mean by whimsical. Okay? And so you have the critters, and you have the more unstructured look of things. And I'm sure this is sideways, but I don't want to take out a light this early in the day. So, of course, and then, we have the beautiful yellow mustard. We have some ginghams, plaid, stripes, lovely fall paper, even foil. I remember, okay, now I'm old school. I remember in the day when this came out, foil paper, and getting it at 99 cents, you thought you were getting a bargain. Now they come in paper pads. Yes, I will no longer buy foil in single sheets because they come in a paper pad. Yes, okay, so what I'm going to play with today, and what I'm going to challenge myself to play with today, is Autumn Dream. It was a paper pad last year or the year before. 2016, okay, 2 years ago. Like I said, I just don't have a lot of fall paper pads, but hopefully I can pick up a couple. I have one gift card that I have left. I'm stretching it through the year. Can't wait to Christmas, get a couple more gift cards, okay? Because, I've been on a spending freeze, so I had to slow my roll a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to play with is Autumn Dream. Beautiful fall line. Now, this is the opposite of what I just showed. This is more rich in color, more dark in tone, that type of thing. Okay, I'll see if I can somewhat put this here, but it doesn't matter. A lot of us have this, so if you have it, go get it, and let's just talk about this paper pad, okay? Because we're going to talk about, in a paper pad, not just this one per se, but any paper pad where you just have, papers that you're just like, they're hard to use, okay? Now, I had talked in a previous video about story-based pages, and this is one of those, and I'm not going to talk about that today, okay? But that's where you can get those heavy graphic designs. You're like, where do I put a photo? You don't. You use them as story-based. But today, we're going to talk about these papers, which that's beautiful, okay? We're going to talk about papers that are hard to use. Right there. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. Because I'm going to challenge myself to do a start to finish with these hard papers. Can I pull it off? We're going to see. Okay. So what I mean by a hard paper is something like that. You know, that's hard to use. Okay. This is beautiful to use. I absolutely cannot wait. Oh, I really just want to drop everything today. And actually, I just love this paper. I mean, it's beautiful. Just putting this out. Oh, I'm in love with this piece of paper. I mean, look what it has, okay? It has everything that you think of autumn and fall and the mood and feel. And then you have foil, and then you have stamping, and then you have text, and then you have script, and then you have postmarked. Beautiful. Here's what I plan on doing with this piece of paper. And if I haven't done it soon, someone remind me, okay? I'm not using a photo. I'm coming down here, and I'm going to tell a story. I haven't decided, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I love that piece of paper. Gorgeous. Okay, so that's not hard to use in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to skip over that one, but I'm definitely same thing. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, the work's already done. Yes. Okay. Now, this type of paper, some people think it's hard. Now, I don't consider this a hard paper to use, so I'm not going to use it today, but this is definitely fussy cutting, and you can definitely get a lot of embellishment. So to me, that's not considered a hard piece of paper, but if this is the type of paper that's hard for you to use, definitely use it in small strips, like a 3-inch piece of paper. You can get a lot of color, a lot of design with 3 inches, even 4 inches. Okay, and then once you get over 6 inches, it'll be a little difficult. Okay, or you can do fussy cutting, but not everybody loves fussy cutting. No. Okay, so I don't consider that a hard one. Okay, now this is geometrics. Not hard for some of you. Geometrics is a little hard for me. Okay, foil, not hard. Okay, actually, not very many of these are hard. Maybe I did not pick maybe I didn't pick. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Watercolor, different gradients of color. Beautiful. Okay, there's one that's loose. I don't like that in my paper pads. I don't like that. Okay, now this would be something that a lot of people consider hard to use. It can be. So this may be one of the ones I pick. What else do we have? Well, that's not hard to use. No. Going to the pumpkin patch. No photo needed. Come down here, tell your story. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And I know some people shy away from those, but embrace them. Beautiful, beautiful. Do I need to even say that? Okay, here we go. This is a hard piece of paper to use. Okay. And I know I will pull that one. So I have some ideas. Excuse me, I may have to get a drink here. What else is left? Now that can be hard for some people. A lot of people have embraced these and put these in the front of an album or at the end of an album. All you have to do is put the date. You're done. You don't need anything else. You can put your name. You can put your family's name. Come down here and put the year. You're done. Beautiful. Okay. I don't really consider that hard. Some people do, but absolutely. You can even put that on a piece of 12 by 12 canvas, and there's some fall decoration, more watercolor. Okay. And then what do we have? Okay, yes, okay. So let's go through the papers that I think are hard, and I'm going to go ahead and just rip some out. That's absolutely beautiful. Okay, now this is the type of paper for someone like me who does not do mixed media, but I like the look of what other gals do. It's just not my style, but right there, I don't even have to do the work. I don't even have to have the inks and the sprays to do that, and right there it is. Beautiful, okay. This is hard, so we're going to just take this out, okay, and that's the first of the hard. Let's see. Okay. Now, with this in mind, I do have my photos. Love that paper. Can I say that one more time? I do have the photos I'm going to use. And they're not fall photos, but they make me feel fall. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So right there are my inspiration. But, you know, it's pictures of Amish quilts. And there's every color you can imagine. So it doesn't matter what I pick. Every color. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this because of what I just said of my photos, okay? This reminds me of quilting squares, so this is making the cut, okay? So let me just put that there. That's not a hard piece to use, but that's what I'm going to use, okay? What else did I say was hard? That's fussy cutting, geometrics. Let's skip over that. I really don't want to go too orange, skipping over that. Foil, that's not really with Amish quilts. And that's pretty. Oh, okay, let's go with this. This could be kind of hard for some people. You can make easy background papers with those. I'm probably going to get a little bit of a glare, but that's okay. Okay, this. Okay, yes. Okay, so we have 3 kind of hard pieces of paper. And I have what I know I want to use as a background or something because of this. You can't see that, I'm sorry, because of this. Okay, so I have 3 hard and then something not so hard. And then here's what I suggest. When you're doing papers like this, okay, and you already know your brain is tired because you're like, they're kind of hard to use. So what I say is find something in the paper pad that you want to use, okay? And for me, you know what that's going to be? Wood grain. Wood grain. And I know that was at the back because I just saw it, okay? Oh, there were some more leaves, okay? Oh, and these cut aparts. Now, everybody loves cut aparts. Yeah, moving on. I was going to say maybe, but no, everybody can, there's a lot of uses for cut aparts, and I don't think I really need to show that. Everybody kind of knows what to do with cut aparts, okay? Because you cut them apart. Yeah, chop those babies up. Okay, so I have 3 pieces of paper here that I'm like, yeah, okay, kind of hard. Okay, now you know you can put this in the front or the back of an album, put on a piece of canvas. You know, it's very pretty. Use it as it is. But in scrapbooking on layouts, it's kind of hard. So that's why I picked. This is kind of hard. What do you do with it? This, yeah, very hard. You just don't know where to start. And then something that I know I want to use for my actual photos because we are dealing with quilts, okay? And then, as I said, pair it with something you want to play with, okay? So it's one of those things, you're taking the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes. Should we say ugly? No, we don't say ugly in paper, do we? We say not so favorite. Yes, we don't say ugly. We say not so favorite. Okay, so let's do that. Not so favorite papers. The papers are actually kind of hard, okay? And so let's see what I'm going to come up with. Okay, so now I'm definitely using fall papers with photos that was not taken in the fall. Okay, and so I wanted to bring that up because just because your photos were not taking in the fall or Christmas time doesn't mean you can't use Christmas type papers and fall type papers. Okay, it's all about mood and feel. So for me, quilts create a certain feel for me, and that's about the same type of feeling I get around fall, and so that's why I decided to use a fall pad. So the reason I wanted to say this was just because I'm using a fall pad, okay, fall, autumn, Thanksgiving, Halloween, that type of thing, does not mean that my photos have to be from September, October, November. No, these were taken in June, okay? They were taken in June, but because of the quilts and because of the feeling I get and the mood I want to convey, I went with fall. A fall palette, okay? Now, I would not use the word fall and autumn, but in a paper pad, not everything says autumn, not everything says fall. If you look here, that can be used all year, all year, all year. Some of that can be used all year. Some of that definitely says fall. And these colors, that can be used anywhere. Yes, okay? You see what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what I wanted to show with paper pads this time. We categorize and we put our paper in categories, but don't limit yourself by when you use them, okay? Just because this is fall doesn't have to be used at the end of the year. If it's a Christmas pad, doesn't mean it has to be used at the very end of the year, okay? Or if it's a summer paper pad, you don't have to just use it on summer layouts, okay? And that's what I want to share in this paper pad. So now what is the direction I'm going to go? Well, with my start to finish, I always have a formula, which I have papers, photos, and a sketch. So my next option or my next step will be to go find, I will go find a sketch for this, or I may let my papers dictate how I do my paper, do my layout. And so I'll come back with that. I have, I know I'm working with quilts. I'm working with lots of colors. We'll see what we come up with. Okay. I definitely know one thing for sure, that I'm going to keep my mood and feel of cozy quilts, warm home, family, and also to geometric shapes, because in the quilting community, a lot of quilts are made with geometric shapes and patterns. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I'm picking out supplies and my title and my sketch. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit as far as looking at your paper pads in another way. Okay, just because it's fall doesn't mean it has to be fall photos. It's all about mood and feel. Okay, so I will come back with my finished layout using a fall paper pad with photos I took in June. Okay, let's see what I come up with. Okay, come back. Okay, I'm back with my finished page and absolutely love how it turned out because I took papers from that paper pad that were, what we say, not so favorite, yes. And then I turned them into a layout in which I really enjoyed creating, and I love the finished results. So that's a win-win, right? Absolutely. So let's talk about what I did. Of course, my background is that quilt square type of brown paper that I showed, and then I put my favorite wood grain on top of it. And then what did I use? Well, if you remember from the first part, I had that sheet of border strips, and then I had that whole 12 by 12. I have a whole mess going on over here, but I was playing and creating. Yes, having fun. So then I had that sheet where it was nothing but alphas, and then I had this really hard page to use that had that quote in the middle, and I used all three of these to my benefit. I used all three of these to help convey my mood and feel, with addition with some other things. So let's get cracking. Okay, so what I did was, first of all, I matted my photos onto white cardstock. Now the white cardstock I used also went with my mood and feel because of the quilts and the patterns and floral and all that good thing that you find in quilts. I made sure that my mat encompassed that too, because there's floral and there's a lot of design in my mat. And then down here at the back on the bottom, I wanted to grind my photos, and so what I did was I took a hunk of that border strips. You can make border stickers. And then I just used, I think there was like 1, 2, I don't know, 4 or 5 strips of that. And I just left it as a whole because I saw this pattern down here. And I'll put this a little closer. I had this pattern down here that was plaid, and I thought, and it had some gold. I didn't really want the gold to show because it's really not something you would find in Amish quilts, is a metallic look. So I stitched over that, the plaid pattern that showed the gold. And could I find a scrap of it? I think I used basically all of it. I don't think I have any remnants over here. Get it? Remnants? Did you get that pun? Remnants. Okay, no. Okay, so what I did was I stitched, and I just used my little piercing tool. And I didn't use a template or anything. I just poked some holes and went to town stitching. And then also too, in that paper, it actually had like a stitched border on that border strip. I just followed right along with the stitches with my yellow thread. And so that's how I got that in there. And then to emphasize that stitching, you know, and to also get in the visual triangle of this color, I went ahead, and those alphas, I just cut those up as little squares as the paper dictated, and then I just put little cross stitch X's there, again, for more mood and feel, baby. Yes, because I wanted to add elements on this page, because even though I used fall papers, this really is about quilts, and so, you know, sewing and quilts and things like that. So I wanted to make sure I used product for that. So up here on this main cluster, I used those florals that was in this big hunkin' piece of paper, and I fussy cut all those apart because there's some in there that I used and some I didn't, and so I just used the colors that I wanted for my page. I didn't go with the green. I did get a little touch of burgundy in there only because that was in my photos. I could have used any of that because all those colors are represented in these quilts that was taken in June. Yes, and so then I wanted to get in some geometric shapes. So with the geometric shapes, what I decided to do was use a punch. What did I just do with it? Here it is. It's a mega punch. It's a Martha Stewart mega punch, and it's a banner. But on the side of this banner, can you see it has those diamonds? I definitely wanted to get that represented because it is a pattern that is actually shown in this quilt that was on a showcase display when I was visiting this museum that day. So I took that, and then again, I took one of these border strips. It was this wood grain pattern, and I just used that border strip again for more embellishments. And so I just did, I added them to the background. So I have wood grain on top of wood grain on purpose because I wanted it to kind of go into the background. I didn't really want you to see them even though they're there. And then also too, with the additional floral, I have some stems and leaves, which again, these are Martha Stewart punches. Okay, love those. Love, love. If you're a floral gal, you got to get some stems, whether it's in dies or punches, because you'll use them over and over again. So what did I do? I used these papers. So what I did was I just used the inside. I didn't care about the wording, but I saw all this color that I could use. And then also, look what I did here for that alpha. That's where I got those stems. I just went in between those letters because I wanted that peach color, pink peach color. So I didn't just go by motif. I went what else I could use. And so I was using this khaki color, and then I was using this peach color. I mean, I was really, look at this. Look at all this over here. I was really busy doing all that, using all that. Okay, now I had some shapes here. I'll talk about that in just a minute. When I talked about some journaling, I'll talk about that. So I did. I just punched some leaves and stems and just used my paper that I had out and about. Ugh, love how that turned out. Okay, now to emphasize my story and theme of my quilts, I made sure I got in some thread along with my yarn, and then I added in some buttons, and then down here I added in some needles, some pins and needles, because you use those pins. Actually, those are called quilting pins. And so I put that over top of some flare, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, because people have asked me how do I use pins and how also do I use flares. So you can see up here that I added the buttons, I got that thread on, and then to keep some of that stationary a little bit, I use this Tombow Mono liquid glue, and I find that it keeps it in place, and there's not too much residue left over. You can't really notice it unless you're looking for it. And of course I pulled out my foam tape, put some of these on dimensional, and then of course a couple enamel dots, and basically that's that whole entire cluster and embellishment is basically a lot of those pieces. Everything except the enamel dots, the thread, and the buttons, that all came from those papers, from the paper pad. Yes. Now, if you would have had to buy that in a die cut or pre-made, well, you'd had $4 or $5. Yes. All I did was use some punches and foam tape. Love that. And then, of course, with my title, I used the words quilts, and I stitched on there, and I just adhered them down with my ATG gun or some of this tacky glue. Okay. Now, there's a little bit on my quilts. If you see, it has dimension where I did my stitching, and I'm going to leave it just like that because, you know, I want some dimension, okay? I want some of that texture because that's exactly what you have when you're looking at these quilts. Okay, so now down here, if you see, I did the same thing. And I always say this, if you don't know what to do, look what you already did. I had built this up here, so I came down here, and I just used some more of those flower pieces that I cut, and a little bit of pink stickers for some direction, because I want to keep my eye going in this way. Flare. So how did I do this flare? I just took flare, cut a little piece of this foam tape, and I put that behind the flare, okay? And then, of course, I used these little needles, well, pins, and then I would stick that right inside the foam, okay? That's how I do that. Now, you have to be careful that, you know, if your foam is kind of thin, you will gouge yourself, so you have to be careful. But I always put the ends of my needles, or pins, whatever you want to call that, I always put them behind something on a page, because I certainly do not want the ends of those needles coming out on my page protector. So those are definitely behind that flare, and that is on purpose. I'll have some close-ups at the end. And of course, again, more button, more thread, and more enamel dots to tie all of that in. Now down here you see a tape measure. Again, another product to help convey my mood and feel, things I saw that day, you know, things that's representative theme, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So what did I use? I used a leftover IKEA, you know, I've only went to IKEA once in my life, but I used an IKEA, you know, they're giving these to you all the time there, okay? I don't know how many I walked home that day with, but man, they just kept giving you those. So I stuck them in there, and I just cut part of that down. I didn't want IKEA on there, but I definitely cut a part of that down. And there's two different on each side. So I went with the smaller, and I put it right there on my page. Yes, I did. Yes. So I have a lot of elements that represent sewing and quilts and that type of thing, because that's what I wanted for my page. Okay, so now let's talk about journaling. Where will my journaling go? My journaling is probably going to be about this amount, okay, because I only have a few lines, about 3 lines. So I could definitely put my journaling up here if I wish to, but it gets a little top heavy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm really honestly going to come down here, and I'm going to put my journaling right here. I'm going to follow through with this direction here, because your eye will lead into this, and this is where my journaling will be. Now for my journaling, I again use my hexagons. Okay, again, more geometric shapes because, you know, we're talking about quilts. You want geometric shapes on there as much as you can. So I got squares, I got diamonds, I got fishtails. So yes, I have all different kind of geometric shapes. So of course, you know, to do this fishtail, you can use a hexagon punch to get that easy fishtail. But I wanted to show something else because, you know, we're talking about quilts, we're talking about geometric shapes. So again, if you look up here, there's more geometric shapes. Okay, so if you use a hexagon punch, you know you can create an easy, let me just move this for a minute. Have a little mini tutorial here, why not? Yes. Okay, so this is what my journaling strip's going to be. And so, you know, if you cut the end of a piece of paper with your hexagon, you're going to get that, and I'm just showing it right here, you're going to get that little banner piece. I mean, how quick is that to make a quick embellishment with that banner piece, okay? Now, I wanted to show something a little different. If you wanted to take this and make this geometric shape here, how would you do that, okay? So what you would do is you would take it, and you're going to feed your, instead of going this way, you're going to actually make sure you pull through, okay? And you want to center it to the best you can. My hands are a little shaky today, so I apologize, okay? And so you're going to get that point there, okay? And so then how would you get the other point? Well, you would feed it through the opposite way you just did, okay? And then you would just kind of eyeball where you want it. Okay, sorry. This is going to totally be crooked. Okay. And then you would make this shape right here. So you can make it as big as you want, okay? Now mine's a little, what would that be, a trapezoid? I don't know, it's a little off. Okay, let me see if I can do this one, okay? My hands are shaky today, you know. I think it's all that albuterol. I think that's what it is, okay? So, of course, I did that point. I would come here and I would feed it through the exact opposite of what you normally would do, and I would punch that, okay? And then that's what I would get. And then I'm going to feed it through the opposite way. Okay, and you have, for me, I have 3 different size hexagons, so depending on the width of your hexagon punch, you can do different varying widths of this embellishment. Okay, that turned out a little bit better. Okay, see, you can, there's a small one and there's a big one. See, my hands are shaking today, sorry about that. And so then this hexagon punch, even though, you know, you get a hexagon, oh my goodness, look at all the other geometric shapes you get. Let me just punch this. Oh, I'll do it in wood grain, why not? I mean, don't you just love when you can use punches and create different shapes with one punch? Yes, this is why I love the hexagon. Of course, circle, you can't get any better than a circle punch, okay? So you see what it is. I have this hexagon. I made this banner tail. Now I'll make these geometric shapes. Look at all that. Love, love, love. Okay, so I wanted to show that. We were talking quilts. We were talking about geometric shapes. I wanted to say, you know, and show that your hexagon punch, yes, you can do more than just a hexagon. You can do more in a fishtail. You can get these other geometric shapes in. Love, love, love. Okay, so I think that's about all I have for this page. Now, I do have some leftovers here that I was fussy cutting, and I have all this here and this here. And you know what I'm in the mood for? I think I'm actually going to end up making a couple cards. I have this left over. And, you know, I have these 2 left over. And then on this border strip, I have these mini ones. So I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to make a couple cards. I think that's what I'll do. And if I get them done, I may put them at the end of the video. It depends. It depends. They may or may not. Maybe I'll show them on another video down the road. Okay, so I think that's all I have for today. I'm definitely excited how it turned out. I'm definitely excited that I took some papers that was in that paper pad that I would probably pass over and not use. And so again, another challenge I created for myself. And I hope this showed that look at your papers in a different way than what it's intended. You know, this was a big honking sheet. You know, you could definitely use it as a title page. But, you know, look what I used it for. I used it for embellishments. I used it for fillers, honestly. And then you can use the white if you want to do some matting on your photos. I mean, 3 different ways for one piece of paper. And again, with these border strips, do not think that you have to use them as strips as they intended. You can use this as a whole. You could use actually this. Let me flip this over. You could actually use that right there as a page header, okay? Absolutely, okay? So don't be afraid to look at papers in a different manner in which they were intended or designed. You can actually come up with your own design. Yes, yes, yes. And then these alphas, you know, I went old school. When was the last time you use an alpha that was in a square. We did that all the time, remember? That's how alphas used to come before thickers. Yes, and that's old school. I remember doing that many times back in the day. So again, you know, so many things you can do with this, honestly. Okay, so that is what I have for today. I hope you got a few more ideas for your papers that are not so loved in a paper pad. And please remember to share your paper pad layouts and progress and organizing. Hashtag paper pad party. You can see the information listed below. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye.